Good morning, world. This is my intro video to Ghost Running YouTube channel. I figured I would go ahead and make one of these videos before too much time goes by. I'm gonna go ahead and apologize about the video quality. One, I know it's dark, and two, I'm just not that good at making videos yet. But I'll get there, I promise. Just like I keep showing up and getting better at running, I'll keep showing up and I'll get better at making these videos. First and foremost, just want to say, one reason why I'm making these videos is for people like me who just need the extra bit of encouragement and just a different point of view. If you try to go on YouTube and look at running videos, you'll see a lot of people and a lot of information, and it's very overwhelming. A lot of these people, I feel like they're speaking to more advanced runners. And so what I'm hoping to do is reach a different crowd of beginner runners, or maybe people who haven't started running, who want to start running. And so all I can do is document my experience and hopefully give you guys some advice. And yeah, stay tuned. Check it out. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do on these little jog vlogs is kind of talk to you kind of about how I'm feeling and what I'm going through during the run, because I think a lot of people see people running, especially people like me who's, you know, seemingly putting on a lot of miles, and people just think, wow, it must be easy. Well, there's a lot of ups and downs in running. Overall, it's great, but you know, there's some pain, there's some suck with it. But if you stick with it, the benefits pay off. Like right now, I'm only about a quarter mile in. I'm just now kind of easing in to my legs. Everything's just kind of waking up. Everything feels great. Took yesterday off, so today I'm hoping for a big run. So at the time of starting this YouTube channel, the most miles I've run without stopping was 9 miles. Well, just last week, actually a week ago today, I decided I was gonna push past that. And in my mind, I was thinking I'll probably try to do 10, but I ended up going for the half marathon. And I knew the route, and I had mapped it with my bike on GPS. So I knew it was about 13 miles. Well, it clocked in at 12.8. So I guess technically I haven't got that half marathon yet. So I'm not sure if we're gonna get that today, but we'll find out. See, I never really know how far I'm gonna run. I just kind of listen to my body. I try to maximize my effort and to get the most out of what I can. But don't ever want to overdo it, you know, especially because technically I'm still recovering from an injury. But yeah, check back with you in a sec. All right, guys, we're approaching a mile right now. Still feel great. Temperature's nice. It's really humid though. This is Florida weather, so go figure. But at least the sun's not beating down on me. Part of the reason why I run so early, I mean, gosh, it can be 105 degrees during the daytime. So I'll take 78 all day. Kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit more info about myself. So it's currently September 2nd, 2024. I'm about a year ago, I decided I wanted to change my life and get healthy. At the time, I was almost 260 pounds. Today, I'm 166 pounds. So a lot has changed. I started my journey with dieting and I messed up. I started trying to exercise. I messed up. That was all around August of last year. In December, specifically December 5th, I decided I was no longer going to be the person I was. I was sick and tired of, you know, just being fat and lazy, quite honestly. Just feeling like I was wasting away. I guess I hit a kind of a mental low point. Feeling sorry for myself. Couldn't stand to look in the mirror. And what hurt the most was just knowing that I could be something else. I started losing weight and dieting December 5th. A few months went by, the pounds started dropping off. All of a sudden, I had all this energy. You know, after I lost about 50 pounds, I felt like I could move again. My knees, my feet, my back, everything just started feeling better. And so I started moving a little bit. I remember when I first tried to run, it was in April, and I couldn't even run half a mile. And I felt so discouraged. So I tried a couple more times, and then I decided to get a bike because I thought maybe that would be a little easier and I could do more. I could be on the bike longer than I could run. So, you know, I like being outside, exploring and exercising, so it's kind of a win-win. But what happened was the biking actually helped me. All of a sudden, I kept going further and further miles on the bike. First it was 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. And then on my days off, I made it a goal to try to go to 50, 60 miles. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this running thing again because this biking thing is too easy. And I started running again. And I was amazed because I used to not even be able to run a mile. So in May, I started running, and I was still biking some, but transitioned from biking back into running and just stayed consistent. I just kept showing up. Started with 1 mile and then stretched it out to 2 miles and eventually 3 miles. Even though I couldn't run the whole 3 miles, I would walk when I needed to walk and I would run. And then eventually I was able to run the whole 3 miles. And then I started trying to do the 3 miles faster. And then that wasn't enough. So then I decided to start pushing out my miles. I started doing 4, and quickly that wasn't enough. So I started doing 5, 6. And now I'm doing probably 8 to 10 miles at least twice a week, and regularly 6 to 8, and I'm running 4 to 6 days a week. Just depends on life, schedule, my body, all the things. But the reason why I tell you all this is because now I'm 90 pounds lighter and I can just run like 10 miles easy, and I never would have thought that was possible. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I actually can do, because it's more than what I thought I could do. So I'm here to tell you, you can too. All right, guys, I'm coming up on 2 miles. One bit of advice I wanted to give you guys is something that's worked for me, whether it be diet, exercise, running, whatever. Try to remove the stress from the situation, you know, whatever that looks like, whether that's decision making or being intentional by prepping yourself You know, set yourself up for success the night before, for example. You know, those types of things. So another example, it's like when I'm running, you'll see so many people, especially on YouTube, so focused on, you know, their time, their pace, all that stuff. And I say, when you're a beginner runner, you shouldn't be worried about that. You're not good enough to worry about that. That's something that you can worry about later. I'm not even worried about that. And I'm already running half marathon. So if that tells you anything, what I would tell you is listen to your body mostly. Not so much that you're quitting, you know, not giving your full potential, but you should be aware enough to know your body, especially as you start creating a routine. And ideally, just every 2 or 3 weeks, you should be increasing by a little bit, improving by a little bit, and that's a good enough metric. Don't get so hung up on how fast you went, what your pace was, what your heart rate was. I'll tell you, one of the worst things for me when I first started was all this information. You hear them talking about your heart rate, zone 2 cardio, all this stuff. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it takes a while to build up your zones, because you've been living at a resting heart rate and not really active, you know. So just like you have to train any other muscle, you got to train your heart and your lungs. Your body's got to adapt and realize that your body is trying to output, and then it'll compensate, and it will take time, but eventually you'll be able to run in zone 2. When I started running, I tried so hard to run as slow as I could and stay in zone 2, but I couldn't even walk fast and stay in zone 2. It took a while, but I don't know, maybe 2 months of consistency, and then I was able to run in zone 2. And for me, that was equivalent of running a marathon. I was super excited about that. So don't stress, take it easy. Same thing with your diet. Don't overstress, especially because if you try to do something drastic, you're not gonna stick with it. So what I would suggest is elimination diet. Eliminate things that you know are bad for you, but do it one at a time. Don't try to do it all at once, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna crash, you're gonna binge, you're gonna have a weak moment, no one's looking, and then you're gonna feel bad because you messed up. And that's another thing. Don't feel bad when you mess up. You miss a day of running, you miss a day of working out, you miss your diet plan, you had something terrible. Don't beat yourself up. Just don't do it again. It's like they say, a habit missed once is a mistake. A habit missed twice is a new habit. Go hard, but stay the same. Going through some rough territory, some hills and fun stuff. Best part. Starting to settle in still. Nothing's hurting yet. That's good. I've only run through one spider web this morning, so that's good. I love these steep hills. Just want to get some footage of that going uphill. So guys, this trail that I'm running is close proximity to my house, which makes it super convenient. Kind of just an old Jeep track for utility vehicles, and people ride ATVs and stuff like that on here. Of course, I ride my gravel bike and run here, but it's super convenient. And honestly, I kind of prefer the trail runs versus pavement. I feel like when I run hard, long runs on pavement, I feel like it's harder on my joints, my knees especially. with the trails. I feel like your feet kind of sink into the dirt a little bit. Kind of provides a little bit of a natural cushion, which I enjoy. And I don't know, there's something kind of casual about a trail run. You know, I feel like it's not as serious. I feel like a little bit more of a regular or a slow pace, or average person's pace or something. It doesn't feel like a race, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It feels more like exploring and being closer to nature, which is just what I enjoy. So I guess that's why I'm kind of drawn to trail runs and trail rides on the gravel bike and stuff. Just having that close encounter with nature and direct contact with the ground, and you know, provides a little bit more of a challenge, which I guess makes it fun as far as it relates to, you know, picking your line on your bike, or deciding where your next foot place is going to be, looking out for, you know, obstacles and holes and all the things. I don't know, it's fun to me. Just thought I'd share. Alright, so real quick, I'll give a public service announcement. I think part of the value I can bring to this channel is kind of telling you know, the average runner or the beginner runner kind of some of my experience with, you know, some of the things you see online. And one thing that I've been seeing over the past few months that I was kind of confused about was people that run marathons talking about their nipples chafing, and giving DIY hacks to, you know, put creams or band-aids or things. And I thought that was very odd, especially since, you know, I've been running since May, June, July, August, so around 4 months, and I've never experienced this phenomena. Well, that was until 2 days ago. So I had a long run with my buddy, and by long run it was only 9.5 miles, but you know, that's long for me. So the difference is, on that day I decided to wear a cutoff cotton t-shirt. Normally I wear dry fit. Well, later that day my nipples were on fire, and I can only relate that to nipple chafing from that shirt, because when I was done, just got bitten by a mosquito, speaking of Florida, when I was done, that shirt was completely soaking wet, and took off yesterday, so I totally forgot about it. And now that I'm running, you know, we're probably, let's see, we're almost 3 miles in, and my nipples are singing to me now. So beware of the cotton shirts. It's a real deal. It really happens. I can confirm. You know, just want to come back and say real quick, gosh, my nipples are on fire, and this really sucks. But if David Goggins can run with broken feet, then I can push through some fiery nipples, I guess. Whew. Got a long ways to go though. So as it's getting daylight, you can probably see I'm wearing a running vest now. And I know more experienced runners are probably chuckling and laughing. But what I'd say is, for the new runner or the beginner runner, this thing is crucial. This thing is amazing. You can bring all the things you could possibly need that might, you know, inhibit a run. You know, like not having, you know, cream for your nipples, or extra water, or a rag to wipe your face, or a cell phone in your backpack in case you twist your ankle, whatever. Just saying. And also, I think it's kind of cool to get used to running with it. So that way, whenever you do run an ultra, marathon or whatever, you'll get used to running and using this thing. And holds quite a lot. Actually, I actually have this running vest on and a running belt. And currently, I always keep 2 or 3 handkerchiefs. And right now I'm running with 4 to 6 gel packs. I might only use 3, but I have them if I need them. And then I have 2 soft water flasks. I usually use 1, but I have the other. I need it. And there has been a time where I've needed it, so I don't know. I guess I'm trying to say, don't worry about looking silly or what people think. It's part of it, man, and it works, and it'll be to your benefit. So this thing's like 20 bucks on Amazon. Definitely worth it. The only thing I love more than a downhill run is an uphill run. No, I'm crazy. I just love it. Love engaging the whole legs. Just shooting up those hills. Super fun. Treat it like a workout. Because it is. So I just wanted to kind of give some shout outs. I think it's only right to do that on this intro video, because quite honestly, if it wasn't for certain people, probably wouldn't even be making this video right now. You probably wouldn't even know who I am, and I probably wouldn't even be running. But first and foremost, just wanted to thank the one that created us, and I truly believe I'm walking with the one who created us, and that my footsteps are guided by him. So first and foremost, above everything, thank you to him. And then my wife. If it wasn't for her, I definitely wouldn't be here. That's for sure. She's my rock. She's my person. She takes care of me and I take care of her. It's the way it should be. Outside of that, my mom, my family, my close friends, you know who you are. But outside of that, there's been a few in the public space that you guys are probably aware of. You know, I already mentioned one, David Goggins. You know, when I first started running, I didn't even know who David Goggins was. I had heard his name before. I saw him in some memes. I didn't really understand it because I haven't been on social media in almost 10 years, so I don't pay attention to all of it. But I guess I saw a YouTube video and I got curious. One video led to another, and then it just kind of happened to be perfect timing, because I was already turning a corner in my life, and I'd already decided that running is something that I wanted to do, because quite frankly, I wasn't good at anything else, and I didn't know what else to do. It's kind of like when I was in school. You know, I was always the little guy, small guy. You know, a lot of people were taller, stronger, faster, just like David Goggins. I didn't have skills, you know. So, of course, I tried out for all the sports teams and made none of them. You know, the best I got was managing the basketball team. I got to keep the stats. Although that was great, taught me some leadership, responsibility. I got to hang out with the guys, you know, have the camaraderie, the brotherhood. It wasn't the same. So I did cross country because, you know, I couldn't run fast, so I couldn't do track. So I thought, you know what? I probably can't run faster than somebody, but I bet I could run longer than somebody, because one thing about me, I might not be strong or fast, but I don't really give up, at least not easily. So first day when I joined that cross country team, I found out who was the fastest on that team, and I made it my goal to make sure that I was right in front of him every practice. I wanted him to see the back of my jersey, and I didn't care what it took. And man, it took some enduring some pain. I tell you, sometimes I thought my kidneys or my lungs or something inside me was going to explode because it hurt so bad. But I just pushed through. And the whole time I was on that cross country team, no other person on my team ever beat me. When we competed in races, of course I got beat, but no one on my team was ever gonna pass me. And that was my goal. And so the reason why I tell you that is to kind of let you know there's a base, there's a background, you know, so I am pulling from that. But that was from my teenage years. I'm 36 now. So I've been running almost 4 months, you know, so I kind of knew how to run, but I actually kind of didn't, because, you know, I've injured twice now in this past 4 months, and both times the recovery is about a 6-week recovery, you know, tendon issues, overusage, improper form, that kind of stuff. Which just goes to show, you know, I've learned how to run. I've improved my form. But back to David Goggins. So yeah, eventually I ended up with both of his books, and my wife could testify to this. I haven't read books since high school. And although it was an audio book, still a book. But David Goggins books, man, I must have listened to them 24 times a piece, just every day, on my way to work, while I was biking, whatever. And it wasn't because he motivated me, although I think there was motivation. I was learning from him. See, I think a lot of people do use David Goggins as motivation, which, hey, you know, whatever works. But for me, I was taking notes, kind of like David says, you know, always be a student. And that's exactly what I was doing. So I want to give a shout out to David Goggins, because he was the first in the public space, and I don't want to get looped in to all these other David Goggins fanatics, because it's not me. I just know that we can do hard things, and we all can do more than what we think we can. And I have to thank you, David Goggins, for really opening my eyes to that. So that's one. Two, David Goggins, through his books, put me on to someone else you may know called Cameron Haynes. So just like David Goggins, I didn't know a Cameron Haynes. Never heard of him. I don't do social media. I'll watch a little YouTube, but I'm just not in the public online, you know, atmosphere. So because of David Goggins, I found out about Cameron Haynes. So naturally, after listening to David Goggins' book so many times, I realized, hey, Cameron Haynes probably got something to say in his book. So I got it, and same thing. Listened to it about 24 times, and I became a student of Cameron Haynes. And so I think what I'm trying to get at here is we all can be a student of each other. I'm hoping that, you know, I can reach down to some of the low-hanging fruit, I guess, some of the very inexperienced or zero experienced, and help pull them up, because there's plenty of room up here. And you know, I almost became discouraged, because if you look online and you see these runners that are influencing, they're running like 6.5 minute pace, long distance. That's a dream to most of us. But I'll have to say, I never thought I'd be running a 7-minute mile again. And I did that 2 weeks ago. So, I don't know. Maybe one day I can do a 6.5 minute pace for multiple miles. I no longer count anything out. So, anyways, Cameron Hanes was very inspirational. He had a lot of good, just a different point of view, you know, kind of a similar toughness like David Goggins, I guess, kind of get after it mentality. But something that really intrigued me about Cameron Hanes was the carrying the rock up the mountain. That was very inspiring, actually. So much so for me that I've been trying to write a children's book for a long time. I never really knew what I was going to write about, but I knew that I wanted to write a children's book. And so his story about that rock, it kind of helped inspire me in a weird way. But good morning. So when I wrote that book, I just wanted to dedicate it to my son because of what we started doing, because of Cameron Hanes. We both went and picked out a rock, and we had this half-mile trail loop down to a creek near our house, and me and my son, we started carrying that rock, that half-mile, and the whole objective is we never put the rock down, because just like men, we have a load to carry. Sometimes it gets hard, but we don't quit. We just adjust and we keep moving. Sometimes we have to take a knee, we let it rest on our thigh, we get back up. We encourage each other, and when we're done, man, such a bond, such a unique experience. And the book kind of mirrors some of that. So thank you, Cameron Hanes, for inspiring me, not only about the book, but just in general. You're awesome. David Goggins, you're awesome. The next guy I want to talk about, I'm kind of new to, I'd say a little over a month now, kind of getting into his stuff now, mostly because of the nutrition. That's Nick Bear. Not just the nutrition, actually. I have to say, I think he has a pretty unique take on this whole hybrid athlete thing. I think it's something that I would like to take on maybe next year, once I get a few more miles on my belt. Right now I just want to focus on stretching out to some long distance, but that's okay. It's good to have goals. But it's interesting watching the trainings and stuff that he does. It's very interesting. Definitely something I'd like to get involved with one day again. But if you don't know already, Nick Bear is the founder of Bear Performance Nutrition, and up until about I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was training fasted. So after about 6 miles, your body, you know, just is taxed. Can't go any further. And you kind of get to a point to where your legs and your body feels good, and you feel like you could keep going, but all of a sudden, for no reason, you just feel like you need to throw up. And I see now that that's because I was, you know, not fueled, didn't have proper nutrition. So as I'm watching Nick Bear stuff, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna buy one of everything and test them out. And I did. Now, I don't think you need every one of his products, no, but I will say the G1M Sport and the electrolytes and the Go Gels are definitely on my must-buy list from Bear Performance Nutrition. After testing these for about 3 weeks now, I can tell you, I told you at the beginning of this video, I'm running with, you know, 4 to 6 gel packs. I'm using at least 3 probably on a long run. And I'll tell you what, it makes a difference. I'd guarantee you, I could not have stretched out to 9 miles to 12.8 without those Go Gels, without that G1M Sport, which is a carbon electrolyte mix. And honestly, I'll have to give Nick kudos, because a lot of times the, you know, the sports nutrition stuff is usually kind of crappy. It's usually kind of chalky. I'll have to say, Nick's stuff is actually good. It actually tastes good. I actually like it. So kudos. I think that was probably hard to do. But if you look at his ingredients, man, he uses good natural ingredients, good stuff, trusted stuff. Sorry going on about Nick Bear, but I just recently introduced to the Bear Performance Nutrition, and I've subscribed to the 30-month subscription on some of his products, because I definitely feel like it's gonna be something I'm gonna support. So Nick Bear, if you wanna, you know, support your boy or shout me out on your channel, I'd appreciate that. Much love, brother. Keep doing it. Go one more, as Nick Bear says. All right, just a quick update. So we're approaching 6 miles now, and I want to keep you guys up to date with how I'm feeling throughout this run. So I'm not sure if I've been doing a good job of that, but honestly, I still feel great. It's funny because normally, like that first mile, sometimes even the first few miles, it's kind of hard. You know, usually you feel something kind of talking to you, your knee, your thigh, you know, calf muscle, something. But I don't know, I've been doing a pretty good job of stretching, being intentional with stretching morning and night, and doing some recovery stuff. And one thing I'll say is I used to kind of get up and run, you know, within 30 minutes, but now I'm up at least an hour and a half or 2 hours sometimes before I run, depending on if I have to drive somewhere. And a lot of that is just, first of all, removing the stress from being rushed, but just taking my time to get my stuff together, allowing plenty of time to stretch. I think it's very important to get that full range of motion and, you know, really get that muscle warmed up to prevent injury, because when you start going past 6 miles, it's a different ball game. You can't just show up unstretched. I mean, maybe you can. Maybe you're an exception, but I think most people can't or shouldn't. And again, I think the 2 times I was injured, I think I just wasn't prepped well enough to give myself enough time, and I didn't properly stretch enough, and, you know, maybe a little bit of overuse too, but, you know, this is all progressive overload, you know, little by little over time to get better. So yeah, back to what I was saying about the, you know, running fueled versus fasted. So since I've been running fueled, I definitely can tell that I'm able to output much more. And then on top of the Bare Performance Nutrition, the past 3 runs, including this one, I decided to eat a sourdough English muffin toasted with honey and 1 banana just as breakfast. And I try to eat that pretty soon after getting up, so that way my body has time to digest it, because I don't want to run with that fresh on my stomach. So after I get up and use the bathroom, I immediately start drinking the G1M Sport, which I already made the night before in the refrigerator, cooling off. Talking about being intentional. So I'm already drinking a G1M, and I eat that breakfast pretty quickly, and then I move into everything else. And I have to say, definitely think it's very important to make sure you're properly fueled for those big outputs. I think if you're running 6 or less miles, you're good to go. But also, I want to say that I think there's a time and a place for fasted workouts, fasted running, and I think it was beneficial when I was trying to lose the weight. But you know, once you've lost 90 pounds and you're 166 pounds, you don't need to fast anymore. You need fuel, you know, that way you don't bonk out. So I think that's where I'm at now. I'm at a turning point. So it's actually a really cool time to get this channel started, so I can kind of document that growth. I guess this is, the next step, you know. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. I'd love to hear what you have to think in the comments. Appreciate your support. Please subscribe. Try to post these as often as possible. Like I said, I run 4 to 6 times a week, so I try to document as much as I can. I might not always get full-length videos, but I'll try to do at least once a week, depending on my schedule. But yeah, thanks for your support. I'm approaching a trail that goes downhill. I rode this on my gravel bike yesterday. If you go watch my most recent video, it's like a 2-minute video, but you'll see me bombing it down this way, and then right at the very end you'll see me bombing it back the other way, which is even faster. Pretty cool watch. But man, I love this hill. I love running it. I love riding it. I know I'm crazy. People that run with me hate running these hills with me, but I just love them. I feel like a goat. I love the soft sand too. Treat it like a workout. It's fun stuff. But yeah, go watch that video on the gravel bike. That was super fun. So what is ghost running? Ghost, with an S, is an acronym. If you haven't figured that out already, it stands for go hard or stay the same. So obviously told you who I was influenced by. You know, David Goggins says to go hard, and I don't know, after listening to his book 50 times, I guess it kind of resonated with me that you have 2 options. Either you go hard or you stay the same, you know. And December 5th, 2023, that was the decision I made. You know, after I already started in August, I failed, but I didn't give up because I was back. And when I came back a little bit more prepared, you know, had a little bit more research, and I went hard. I decided to diet, and I guess that's kind of what I want to point out here too, is going hard. I mean, you can do that anything. You don't have to run. It doesn't even have to be exercise. You can go hard at being a dad or a mom or a teacher or a nurse or whatever you do. Just show up. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about showing up and fulfilling your purpose and being who you're supposed to be. And I truly feel like we have desires in our heart placed there by God, and it's up to us to step up and show up. And if you keep showing up, I promise you, your life will change. So go hard or stay the same. You know, one goal I have with this channel, outside of providing content to inspire people and encourage people, especially the beginners or those who haven't started, and besides documenting my journey, I just kind of want to be a resource for people. So reach out if you have questions, comments. I'd love to hear. I can only speak from my own experience, but I feel like I can probably relate to the type of person watching my channel. So, you know, let's engage. Let me help you, because I once was where you were. We all had to start somewhere, you know. Just get started. Just start showing up. You'll be surprised. What you don't want to do is 3 months later look back and be like, man, I could have started 3 months ago. Because if I look back at the 260-pound person I was, man, that person wouldn't even understand who I am today. That person is truly dead. I'm no longer that person. I'll never be that person again. Physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm in such a better place. Thank God, thank my wife, my family. And running has been huge for my mental health, physical health. And I hated it, and now I enjoy it. Mostly because of the benefits, but I love challenging myself. And if I go more than one day without running, it really bothers me. There's been a few times where I was about to go 2 days without running, and told my wife, I'm gonna go run real quick at night before bed, 30 minutes, you know, just to feel the legs moving. Because once you start, I don't know, just keep coming back for some reason. I guess setting little goals for yourself, you know, taking off these little victories, as David Goggins says, these little breadcrumbs, it works. And the results speak for themselves. So, you guys are aware that I like to run at night, early morning, before the sun comes up. So one thing I'd like to do with ghost running is develop kind of, I guess, a unique brand of night running clothing line that's very reflective and bright and ideal for running in low light conditions. But I don't think there's really a good market out there with, you know, nice looking stuff that fits that mold. So I don't know, why not? Maybe I can corner that market. That would be awesome. So that is a goal of mine. Maybe not just clothing, maybe other types of things, you know, headgear, lights, that kind of stuff. But time will tell. Just take it day by day. Keep showing up. That's all we gotta do. So the nipples are no longer an issue. It's now the mosquitoes. I don't know if I've come into an area that's just infested or something, but I think I've been bit 6 times in the past 5 minutes. So hopefully that ends soon. Hopefully I get through this patch. Like right now, getting bit. This is not typical, I have to say. Of course, I'm gonna go make my first video. But again, that's Florida. Alright, so it's a little update. We are approaching 8 miles. Finally starting to get a little bit of heaviness, I guess, above the left knee. Not really pain, wouldn't call it, but definitely kind of talking to me a little bit. But overall, man, this has been one of the best runs. Just kind of funny because, like I said before, usually first mile or first 4 miles, it's kind of tough, but I've been cruising pretty good. So maybe it's because you all are with me. Appreciate that support. Well guys, starting to warm up a little bit as the sun's coming. I can feel it. I can feel the sweat everywhere. But I feel like I'm completely drenched at this point. But still feel super great. So I don't know what the mileage is going to be today. I think that's one of my favorite parts about the way I do things is it's like I plan, but I don't plan too much. Like, there's nothing worse than planning out every detail and then not able to meet those demands and then just feeling like a failure. I feel like when you leave yourself room to adjust, you allow yourself the mind space to feel accomplished, and also you're kind of thinking like a leader because you're able to make decisions in real time, kind of manage the business of your life, of your fitness or whatever. So I think it's a smarter way to do things. So as I'm going now over 8 miles, I'll probably decide in the next 4 miles maybe, and even now I'm deciding that I'm running 4 more miles. So as I say that, but who knows, it could be another 8 miles. I don't really know. And that's the beauty about it, is I don't overthink it. I'm actually more aware of what I'm running right now just because I'm recording this and trying to keep you guys up to date. But normally I wouldn't even know what distance I run right now. If anything, I'll occasionally look at the time because some days I have to go to work, so I need to be aware. So far I've only been late to work 1 time, and that was the day I did my PR, which my boss was totally understandable. But I'm just saying, listen to your body, don't overdo it, but don't be afraid to push yourself, especially after you get going and get started. You need to stretch it out a little bit, see what you can do. So I'm excited to share with you guys, hopefully, a new PR on this first video. Well, I guess it's not technically my first video, but I'm calling it the intro video to this channel. First video I've talked on. So it's interesting to see what I can accomplish today and share with you guys on my first video. So I'll be back. It's funny, whenever I thought about doing this first video and having to talk, I was kind of nervous about not having anything to say or the right things to say. And as I'm running, my mind just goes, and I just have things on my mind. So I guess as these videos progress, that's kind of what I'll do. It's just jog and share my thoughts, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. If not, let me know, and we'll figure out what you guys want to see. But, yeah. One of the thoughts I wanted to share was, don't be afraid to go on this journey alone, because chances are there's not going to be someone in your circle who's on the same path or same timeline as you. So likely, if you're trying to wait for someone else or depending on someone else to help you through, it's not gonna work, because they're gonna fail you. They're not gonna show up. That doesn't mean don't have someone, don't work out with someone. That doesn't mean that. I definitely think you should have somebody to run with, to work out with, you know, encourage each other, but just don't depend on them. Think of it as a bonus. For example, one of my buddies who started running with me a few weeks ago, man, I love running with him. Some of my favorite runs, I've been running with him. But life happens, man. He's not able to make it today, so here I am. But the beauty in that is, me and him may have only ran an hour, hour and a half, because that's just what we do. Kind of run and talk, and you know, we're training, but we're not overdoing it necessarily. So when I'm going to push myself, I know it's probably going to happen when I'm by myself. So just by luck, by chance, not luck, by chance, that he's not here today, I may set a PR that I wouldn't have set, and I probably also wouldn't have made this video. So just don't depend on other people. Enjoy what they give you, encourage them, you know, try to inspire the other people around you, because I promise you, if you keep showing up, you will. But if you're waiting on someone else, it's not gonna work. Just keep showing up on your own time, because only you can show up for you. Those other people, they're not gonna show up for you. They're gonna be tired and sick. You gotta make yourself get out of bed and show up when nobody else wants to, consistently. So do that. Just have to show you all this thick dirt. I love biking in this. I love running in this. It requires a little bit more effort out of the legs, but it's also just being intentional about your placement of your foot, allowing yourself to sink in and really get that grip. It's just kind of really adjusting, which is one of my favorite things about running, is it kind of parallels life a little bit. It's like you gotta take one step at a time, be intentional about placing that foot, and make sure you get the best footing in order to set yourself up for that next step. It makes so much sense in life. It's also why I like running early morning, when you just kind of only can see the light in front of you. It's like you can only focus on the next few steps, and you really can't see the distance ahead. You're just focused on the now. It's a great analogy on life. Just keep worrying about that next step. Of course, have goals, kind of know where you are and where you're going, obviously, but focus on putting that best step forward. It's a great analogy. All right, guys, so we're about an hour and a half into this run. Still feeling pretty good. That left leg is, I told you guys, it's starting to feel a little heavy, and now starting to feel a little bit of pain. Kind of, I guess on the front center, kind of on the top of my knee. Probably like a 3 out of 10. I feel like if I were to stop and maybe squat and stretch it for a second, maybe it just needs to pop or something, I don't know. But overall, man, this has been one of the least painful runs. Then again, I've been recovering from pes serine bursitis on my right leg. It's been about 6 weeks of that. The first week, couldn't really run at all. And then I started incorporating some slow, light runs, like 3 miles, 4 miles, and did some research. Basically, the worst thing to do was to stay inactive because it'll tighten up. So I decided to just stay light, and that worked for me. And I feel like it's improved. Of course, stretching and all that stuff too, strength exercises. But yeah, this run feels pretty good. So I feel pretty good about knocking out a PR now. So still not sure what that distance is gonna be. Sounds like probably gonna be dependent on my knee. I'm obviously not gonna push myself to injury over a PR, you know, but I think with this knee pain that I should be able to get that PR. But I don't know, if I get 13 and I still feel good, I'm gonna tell myself why not 15. So I don't know, check back with you in a few. All right, so that knee is still kind of talking to me. I think it's kind of slowed down my pace a little bit. So I think right up here, I may squat for a second, sip some water, and push, see if that helps relieve some pressure or something. Again, it's still like a 3, maybe a 4. But I don't think it's anything serious. But keeping an eye on it, just to update. Alright guys, I was able to pop that knee, and I think it did provide some relief. I don't really feel that pain. It's more like a 1.5 now. The leg still feels a little heavy right above and to the left of the knee, but definitely need to be popped. So that's good. We're about 2 hours in. Just took my 3rd gel pack. I think I've drank from the flask 3 times, and we're probably around 10 miles-ish. So just a quick update. Did I mention I love the hills and the sand? Man, this right here, beautiful. I love it. Looks like someone else has been running through here. So as I was telling you guys, this trail is probably the main area I run. It's where most of my runs happen, just because of the convenience of being able to run from my house, not having to drive somewhere. So normally what happens is I kind of pick a distance, like a halfway point, so to speak, and I know that whatever I run, I'm gonna have to run that distance back. So if I run 4 miles, I'm gonna have to run 8. So today I decided not to do that, because once I decide, I committed to that, and I didn't want to cut myself short. So today I told my wife, I'm just gonna keep running, and I'll call you when you need to come pick me up, because I don't want to give myself any reason to stop. And if I decided to turn around at 7 miles, for example, and I got back and I did 14, but I felt like I still had some in the tank, I'd be upset. It's much harder to turn around after you've already got to the finish line and go pump out another 1 or 2. It's a lot easier to do that when you're just going straight and the miles and the distance is unknown and you're just worried about the next footstep. That's kind of my approach. I feel like I kind of learned that from David Goggins a little bit, but honestly, it just kind of works for me in the no stress approach. So hopefully it works for you, but that's my advice. That's what works for me. All right, so both legs are starting to get a little heavy. Both knees are a little bit tight, but not in pain. Just have to be intentional with footing and, you know, make sure I don't have a misstep and cause injury. So just kind of keep a good pace, be intentional with my footing, and keep pressing. My lungs are good, breathing's good, everything's good. It's just always, as I get towards the end of my run, it's always the legs and the knees that I'm trying to build up to last longer. I got the cardio and endurance. It's just progressive loading the miles. Just part of the journey. So we'll see how far we get. I'm not sure we'll do 15 today, but I'll be happy with the 13.1 since we got 12.8. But again, we'll see. It gets real quiet on the other side of 2 hours when you're running. On the other side of 2 hours is new to me in running. This is probably the 4th time that I've ran over 2 hours. I've been doing an hour and a half. So I'm just now getting to that point. So it's been pretty fun. Body still feels good. I feel like if I maintain this pace, I'll be all right. I think we're just over 12 miles right now. All right, guys. Closing in on this last mile to get that new PR. But I have to admit, it's starting to get hard. I'm starting to slow down a little bit. Legs are getting heavier. Knees are getting louder. Which is to be expected. I'm not there yet. So I can't expect a marathon distance right now. But I'm gonna squeeze out what I can. Just wanna give you a quick update. All right, guys. Kind of getting into the hurt locker, as David Goggins would say. Starting to get tougher with each step. My right ankle is starting to talk to me a little bit of pain. I'm not sure what's going on there. I think it's just because this is a trail run, so a lot of uneven ground, so probably what's going on there. So I'm almost at the 13.1. We're almost there. So I think part of my problem here is that I kind of run out of trail, as you can see. So I'm kind of running on this bank a little bit. So it's at a decline from left to right. And I think that's what's bothering the inside of my right ankle. So for that reason, I don't think we're getting 15 today. But I'm okay with that. Like I said, still a victory, still a PR, still better than I was last week. So I can get 15 later. I can get that next week. or the week after. It'll come. It's not the actual goal. It just needs to happen eventually. We'll get there. It's part of it. Get used to it. What a great run. Official time is 2:26. 3.16 miles. Pace of 11 minutes, which is pretty good for me. So thanks for following along, guys. And please like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll do this again. Thanks.